and welcome back to my channel. Today we are starting 12 days of Bookmas. I'm really excited. I didn't want to do the full 31 days of Bookmas because that's a lot and 31 videos is just too much for me to manage. So I decided to shorten it to 12 days of Bookmas, and that's what we're gonna do. And so day one, I had to start off strong because we're already into December, so I didn't want to do December TBR, especially since I'm trying not to be really heavy on TBRs currently, since I'm kind of mood reading and not living up to my TBRs. So instead, I decided to start this series off with my Christmas book wish list. So actually for Christmas, instead of like making a book wish list of like books I wanted for Christmas and sending it to people, I just sent my pre-existing Amazon wish list of books to anyone who asked. So with that, let me say before we start this video, there's a lot of books on this list because the way that I use this Amazon wish list typically is I add all the books on it that I want to read that I don't own. And if I buy them in public, like not off of Amazon, I'll just delete them from the wish list. And that's kind of a great way for me to keep track of all the books that I know I want to buy. And so when people asked what I wanted for Christmas, and I was like, oh, you could buy me books, I'll send you my wish list. I didn't send it to them saying, hey, you need to buy all of these books. This is not like me saying, hey, I want every single one of these books for Christmas. This is just the wish list that I sent to people to pull from if they wanted to buy like a book or 2 books or whatever they wanted to do. And so please don't think that I asked for every single one of these books for Christmas. I didn't. I'm just going to share with you my current Amazon wish list that I have sent to people who may or may not have bought books off of it. So with that, let's just get started. I am going to start at the very top of the wish list, so like the books I added more recently, and we'll go down it until I get to the books that I added like a while ago. And maybe by the time we get to my Christmas book haul that I plan on doing Christmas Day, some of these may show up. So I have my phone here so I can pull up my Amazon wish list. You can't see that, but it's there. And we're just going to go through the books that are on my wish list that I really like. If not for Christmas, I will eventually buy them for myself. So the newest one, number 1, is Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. I really liked Our Violent Delights. I know a lot of people pre-ordered this and have like already read it. I did not do that, but I still would really like to read it, especially because I enjoyed Our Violent Delights. The second book I have on this wish list is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I was really into dark academia books in like October, and so I added this then. It has caught my eye every time I see a picture of it. It's so pretty. I really don't understand what it's about, and it probably don't even know if it's something I would enjoy, but I am so intrigued by it. So it is on this wish list, and hopefully I'll get it and I can read it and tell you guys if it's worth it or not. Another book I added around spooky season was A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. So again, I watched a lot of reading vlogs during October of people reading that book. They really enjoyed it, dark academia, and so that's another one that kind of fits into The Secret History, like dark academia vibes, and I would also like to know if it's any good. I heard it is, and I know a lot of people have already read it, so it's on there. I also have gotten into a lot of romances this year and more like contemporary things, I guess, and so the next on my list is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I have not read any of her books, and I know this is the one that has the Hulu show, right? I guess. And a lot of people say they love it, so yes. But if I'm right, this is the girl that doesn't use quotation marks when people are speaking, so that may drive me insane. But I'm going to try it out if I receive it. If not, I'll buy it. But another solid choice. I also, during kind of my spooky month, added Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I haven't read any of her books. I do kind of like these like creepy books, and so I'm kind of wanting to read some more of them, and I think I may have a couple other by her on here, but I'm not sure. I know I added Survive the Night. My friend bought it. I don't know if she's read it yet or not. I can't remember. But if she did, I feel like she did, and she said she liked it. I just know it's one of her newer ones, so I did add that book to the wish list. Also, we have Layla by Colleen Hoover. I read multiple Colleen Hoover books very, very recently, and I am obsessed with her. And I heard Layla is also very shocking, and so I'm excited for that one. And so I didn't want to add like all of Colleen Hoover's books and then be like, oh, I can't buy anything just in case someone buys it for me, because that's what I've kind of been having to do, is like if I go into Barnes & Noble, I have to check and make sure it's not on this wish list because there's a possibility someone will buy it if it is. So I didn't want to add a bunch of Colleen Hoover books, but I did add this one just because I was interested in it, and so that is one. I also added the entire Poppy War Trilogy. I've been really interested in these as well. I know they're kind of heavy, but it is something I want to read, and so it's the Poppy War, the Dragon Republic, and the Burning God. All of those in the series, and so obviously, you know, if I get this, I will read it soon because it sounds really good, and I know a lot of people love it, but also intense. I also added the Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix around not Christmas time, around Halloween time. I read My Best Friend's Exorcism and A Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires recently in like October, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Grady Hendrix now, and so when that book came out, I was like, oh, I need this too. There are other books by him that are out that I haven't read that I would like to read, but for some reason, especially the cover of this book, it just compelled me to add this book to my wish list. I also have Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I read The Unhoneymooners and was obsessed, and a lot of people say that this one is like a really good book. I've heard people say it's their favorite book. So I'm really interested in that, especially because I'm getting into more romance. I also added A Shadow in the Ember because I did read From Blood and Ash. I haven't read the other two, but I do own Kingdom of Flesh and Fire and A Crown of Gilded Bones, so when A Shadow in the Ember came out, I added it to the wish list so I can have the collection, because I do plan on going back to those books. I just read it at a time in which I was not feeling series, and so I fully plan on coming back to it, and so I just wanted to add it so I can keep going, so maybe I can catch up before the new one comes out next year. I also added The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. I read Addie LaRue this year, and I read the Vicious and Vengeful duology, and the Villains duology, and I really liked those. So I do still need to read the Darker Shade of Magic series, but I'm not going to do that until I have all of those books. So I added some other V.E. Schwab books on here just because I do really like her writing, and I think that it will be good, and so I wanted to like read some more V.E. Schwab. The next two are actually Riley Sager books. Riley, get it? I feel like that's another reason why I want to read her books. But I added Lock Every Door and Home Before Dark. Just, again, was looking for some more spooky reads. I also added These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. I know everyone is obsessed with this book. I've seen a lot of good things about it, especially on Book Talk. So I feel like I need to hop on that train, and it's just on my wish list. Next is A Winter's Promise, which is the first book in a series. I, for some reason, all the time, like for years, would see this book in Barnes & Noble and think it was so pretty and be like very interested in it, but having no idea what it's about. So I decided to add it to my wish list because I'm like, I need to just read this because it's pretty and surely it's good. I also added Strange the Dreamer by Lonnie Taylor. I think that's how you say her name. Is that the same girl that wrote Daughter of Smoke and Bone? Unsure. Now I'm questioning life. Anyways, I know a lot of people really like Strange the Dreamer. It has a really pretty cover. No idea what it's about, but I added it. Here's a theme. I don't really know what these books are about usually. I like to go into books blind. It's so much more fun that way when you have no idea what it's about and then it just like shocks you. I added the hardcover version of Our Dark Duet because last year, which I haven't read it because I wanted both of the books, I found a hardcover version of This Savage Song that had a signed card in it at a thrift store or a secondhand bookstore, and so I want the hardcover version so it matches, and they don't have that version at Barnes & Noble, so that's why that's on this list. I added Fortuna, is that how you say it? Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. I've seen people on Book Talk talk about this. Again, no idea what it's about, but here we are, trusting our fellow book talkers, which may not always be the best idea. Yeah. I added book 1 of the Diviner series by Libba Bray. Something about it I have been interested in. I really don't know much about it other than magical, I think. It looks good, so I'm just gonna go for it. I also added A Deadly Education. Again, no reasoning for this. It's by Naomi Novik. No reasoning. It's just on my wish list. Howl's Moving Castle. I watched the movie for the first time very recently. I was in the Studio Ghibli like binge when I got HBO Max, and so now I want to read the book, and so that's why it's on my wish list. I also have the Puffin and Bloom version of the Little Women hardcover. I've never read Little Women, and I really want to. So, but I love this cover version of it, so that's why that version is on my Amazon, because like I really want that one. So, Little Women. Also, Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. I have the Red Queen, have not read it. Don't know if I like her writing style at all or not, but it was big, and I was like, you know what, I'll try it out. And it's still been sitting on my wish list, because that means I have not chosen to buy it since a long ago time when I put it on there. But it's there. Next, I have The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni? I'm so sorry. Again, know nothing about this book. It just looks interesting. I also added Witches Steeped in Gold and The Gilded Ones. Know nothing about them, but I want to read them. I don't know. They just pretty covers too, and I don't know what they're about, but I know people talk about them, and so, you know, all you have to do is make a video saying you like a book, and I'm gonna read it, honestly. Like, I don't need to know anything about it. If I see people saying that it's good or that they like it, it gets added to this wish list. I added, I'm gonna try to go quickly, Ray Bear, Fahrenheit 451, and Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. Again, Fahrenheit 451, I know what that's about. That's just another where I'm like trying to read some classics. The other two, no idea. I mean, I have a faint idea what Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe is about, but that's like it. I just know that they're supposed to be good. Dance of Thieves, again, know nothing about this book. Everyone talks about it, so I want it. And then I have the City of Ghosts trilogy. Wanting to read all of V. Schwab's books is on my priorities, and so I know that this is middle grade, but that's fine. I mean, Percy Jackson is middle grade, and I'll read anything V. Schwab writes at this point, even though I've only read 3 or 4 books. Or, yeah, 3 or 4 books. So, that's on my list. A Sorcery of Thorns and Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Get a Life, Chloe Brown is because of romance. And I've really been wanting to read this series for a long time. I have almost bought it multiple times, and then I don't because I end up buying something else. And it has been put off for way too long. But, yeah. As for Sorcery of Thorns, I don't have a reasoning for this. It's just there. All the Stars and Teeth. I just have the first book on this list, not both of them. But I added this when I was reading like To Kill a Kingdom, Daughter of the Pirate King, those kinds of things. So I was just in that mood. And I have yet to pick it up, which is why it's still on this list, but here it is. If I get it, I'll read it. I added Aurora Burning because I have Aurora Rising already. I haven't read it, but here we are. Sequels. A lot of these are going to be like sequels to books I already own, where I may have read the first book, or I haven't, but I just want like the whole series before I read it. But the next one is a big one. And, I mean, this probably will not, no one will probably buy this for me, but if they do, I'll be eternally grateful. It's the collector's edition of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I want this so bad. I see it every time I'm in Barnes & Noble, but I will never be able to bring myself to spend that much money on one singular book that I've already read and already own. So it's on this wish list. If anybody ends up buying it for me for Christmas, I'll be so happy. Next we have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levinseller. Yeah. Again, don't know anything about this. Some people actually don't like this book, so concerned about it, but I would like to give it a try. I think it's enemies to lovers, and that's why it's on my list. Next, we have The Languages of Thorns and The Lives of Saints, both Leigh Bardugo, like Shadow and Bone companion things. I don't really think they're novels. I know Lives of Saints is not. So, adding those because I want all of the Grishaverse. I love the Grishaverse. Obsessed. Another big reason I got into book talk and all that kind of stuff, and so I just need to complete my little collection. We have Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I actually never finished like Cinder, that series. I am not even sure what it's called at this point. But Heartless just seems good. So I'm willing to give it a try. It's been on my list for a really long time and I still haven't picked it up. So if I have it, I'll probably read it. I have Three Dark Crowns. No idea what that's about. I just know a lot of people liked it at the time that I added it to this wish list. We have Furyborn, which I do actually really want to read, even though I know nothing about it. But it's on this wish list because I need it. An Enchantment of Ravens. Again, I know nothing about what this book is about, but here we are. Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, and I put the collector's edition on here because it's just so pretty. I've never read this. I know a lot of people read it back like in high school when I would watch a booktube, but I've never read it, and a lot of people like it. So especially since I'm getting back into romance, I think it's the time. I also added Obsidio and Gemini. The next two in the Illuminae series. I actually just recently read the first book, so these will complete my series if I receive them. I also added Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness because I have Lady Midnight. Haven't read it, but I need the next two. Also, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy because I decided that I really wanted to go back to the publishing order, and so I need to finish Bang Chronicles and then read that and then go to Lady Midnight. So I'm just trying to get my ducks in a row on Shadowhunter stuff. The Push, it seemed really interesting. I think it's a thriller, psychological. Really wanted to buy it a while ago and I didn't, and I still don't know why I never did, so it's on the list. We have The Return of the King. I have Hobbit, Fellowship of the Ring, and The Two Towers. Return of the King is the only one I don't have, so it's been on this wish list. Is there. I will eventually finish this series, but today is not the day. It took a lot for me to get through Fellowship of the Ring, so I'm just like putting it off, but I would like to complete my series on my bookshelves. The next is the next two Darker Shades of Magic books. So A Gathering of Shadows and A Conjuring of Light. Again, I haven't read A Darker Shade of Magic, don't know if I like it, but I don't want to read it until I have the whole series because I do plan, no matter what, to finish the series, so the next two are on there. I also have the Raven Cycle books that I'm missing because I've read the first one, I haven't read the second one, but I want all of them. So I have Blue Lily, Lily Blue, and The Raven King. I feel like I'll be more motivated to finish these once I have all of the books in my hands. So they've been on my wish list for a while. I just haven't like brought myself to do it because I haven't been like reading them, so there was no pressure on me to buy them. Then I have Scythe, the first book. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm really so interested in this series, but I have a couple like dystopian things in mind, so if I like that, I may get back into dystopian. So I do still want to give it a try, but I'm not sure if I'll love it or not. And then the last thing on this list is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, which is something I've wanted to read for a while now, but I have not picked it up, and so it is on my list because I really want to read it. I just have not been in like the place where I wanted to read that kind of book because I know it's just gonna like be a lot. But I do really want to read that book, and so it's on my wish list. It's the first one that's on there, and it's been on there for a long time, so if I receive it for Christmas, I will finally make the plunge and I will read it. So if you stuck around to hear my wish list, thank you so much. Obviously, I won't be receiving all of these books for Christmas, but this was the options that were given to people when they asked for my wish list. And so you can come back here on December 25th or 26th. I'll let you know throughout 12 Days of Bookmas what day it will end up being. And you can see which books off of this wish list I did receive and if like any other ones happen, but I don't think they will be. I think if I get books for Christmas, it'll only be from this wish list. Some of them I'm really excited about. Some of them I'm like, okay, I still have some interest, but maybe not so much. And I will keep you updated on how I feel about all of those. Thank you for watching, and thank you for joining me for 12 Days of Bookmas. Stay tuned tomorrow to see my current TBR pile that I have. It's kind of large. And I will tell you like kind of why it's still on my TBR pile and that kind of thing. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow for day 2. Bye.